Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. That's ELPIS to my podcast listeners. And I want to make a special welcome to them as well. All right, so this is the astrological forecast as I see it for April 2022. And this is an action-packed month with a Jupiter conjunct Neptune. We've got an eclipse happening this month as well. So I'm going to cover the introduction to start off with, and this will be at length. I'll go into the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction and what it means. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to actually give each of you your sun signs and or ascendant and my take on the month of April for your sign by sign. And I'll put the timestamp in here for those that want to either come back for a second time or go straight to their forecast. So the main event of April 2022 really rests on two planets, and actually a third one, the luminary, which I'll discuss in a minute. So we're talking about Jupiter conjuncting Neptune on the 12th of April 2022 at 22 degrees of Pisces. And this is what we're looking at, this degree point. So check your chart to see if specifically you've got anything around, say, 21 to 23 degrees of Pisces, or the opposite sign, which of course is Virgo, so that's 21 to 23 degrees. It really is those, or are those degree points that will be most affected in terms of really getting some energy from this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. Otherwise, you could just see this as a very pleasant day or a pleasant number of days or even a pleasant month. So I would say Pisces, this is like a once in a lifetime thing for you. And I would definitely earmark April in terms of making your dreams come true, starting a new business if that's what you want to do. Even getting married might be good at this time. Of course, you do have to look at your individual charts, and I'd be happy to do that for you. All my services and connections to my website and to me are listed below. I also have another video that I go into in depth where I talk about Jupiter in Pisces, and I go into all my sun signs and ascendants there, and I specifically talk at length about Jupiter being in Pisces, and I go into the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction as well. So for those that want even more detail, check out that link before. And I've also got the North Nodes of the Moon video too. I'll put that link in here because it all kind of works together this month. All right. So what I thought was interesting, I looked at the main conjunction, which is on the 12th of April. And so if you have your birthday on the 12th of April, congratulations. I would expect that at least for the month of April, you're going to have a lot of very wonderful luck coming your way. But what's really interesting is a few days later what happens. So on the 12th of April, we have the moon will be ingressing into Virgo at 0 degrees of Virgo. It doesn't really make any connections with this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune at this time. But then I followed it for a few days, and I saw that culminating on the 14th of April was this moon in Virgo, which of course is going to be opposite where the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune happened in Pisces. It, on the 14th of April, is at 24 degrees of Virgo. Well, this forms an exact opposition to that Jupiter-Neptune. And I really felt that it was this day that really set off the energies of both Jupiter and Neptune in conjunction. Because there's other things besides the opposition happening with the moon. And just for those learning astrology, certainly the two most important luminaries in your chart does involve the moon as well as the sun. So here we have this important luminary in the chart coming round to actually oppose this beautiful Jupiter conjunct Neptune. And I think really set it off is what I think it does. But we also have a yod that is formed. And this yod is formed by Saturn, which is at 23 degrees of Aquarius, And the sun, which is at 24 degrees of Aries, it's pointing at this Virgo moon at 24 degrees of Virgo in 1 minute. So I think this adds extra emphasis to the truly, I guess, magical aspects of this Jupiter conjunct Neptune. Now I'm going to go into each of these planets separately and combine them as well, because there's always two sides to a planet. Sure, we've got lots of positive stuff happening here, but there's also a little negative side to both Jupiter and Neptune, especially when they conjunct. It really depends on where you are at as an individual in terms of receiving these energies, and then of course sending out energies as well. That's why it's so important to really look at your individual chart. I also looked at the Sabian symbol, not for the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune, but at this important luminary of the moon forming an opposition to the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. And so that Sabian symbol, you round up, of course, when you're looking at the degrees, and you round it up to 25 degrees of Virgo. And so the saying that goes with this degree point is a flag at half-mast in front of a public building. So this speaks to public recognition to an individual, or maybe individuals, who has given great public service. Now this could be a metaphorical picture, of course, where we just honor a person or people that have really given public service, or it could be that somebody passes on at this time and there's a great deal of service, a recognition for this person's service given at around this time. And again, I'm talking about the 14th of April, when the moon opposes the Jupiter conjunct Neptune. We also have at this time period of the Jupiter, Neptune, and the moon, we have Saturn is in conjunct, first of all, to Jupiter, and then to Neptune on that day, the 14th of April. And it also squares the north and south nodes of the moon. And of course, the north and south nodes of the moon really refers to our collective destiny at this point in time. An inconjunct of Saturn really says you can't really fit the pieces together. They're not fitting together properly. If you can just picture a puzzle and you don't have the right piece and you keep trying to put it in, but it's not going to work to put the picture together. So it seems to be, even though there may be some wonderful experiences and at the very least some very beautiful feelings and high level consciousness, there may be some kind of not the whole picture working out at this time. There's still kinks to be worked out with regards to making these maybe dreams come true in your life. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Saturn also is like the stoplight. It's also literally saying you got to stop. So there may be people that are older than you, or people in positions of power that rule over institutions, for instance. I'm thinking in particularly government representing Saturn, where they're not in agreement with what the general population wants, as well as what the individuals want. And they're throwing up some roadblocks. That's also Saturn too. It's also saying, you know, at an individual level, just be a little cautious, be a little circumspect with regards to maybe how you're seeing things. And the square with the north and south nodes really said, I would say, to me, that says the time isn't right. And that also feeds into Saturn, which also is Father Time. Okay, so just bear that in mind around, let's just take the whole month of April, even though this is kind of mid-April this is happening. I would just earmark the whole month of April as to have some wonderful things potentially coming your way, especially if you come into the degree points that I spoke about. All right, let's go into these planets individually. And what I'm going to try to do is to at least synthesize the effects of these planets in a way that you can maybe better understand. And then, as I mentioned, I'll go into each of your individual signs later. All right, Neptune. So Neptune is an agent of energy. It is not the energy. So when we have Jupiter conjuncting Neptune, we have the energy, right, increasing. And of course, if we look at Jupiter, Jupiter does grow and increase everything it touches. So this is like super energy is what it boils down to, especially if you've got something around these degree points. It gives us unlimited possibilities. It's potentially when magic and miracles and dreams come true. But on the flip side of that, of course, there is this Neptune effect of illusion or rose-colored glasses, where everything seems rosy, everything seems beautiful, everything seems within reach. But in reality, there may be some illusion around this, and with Jupiter adding energy to that energy, it could be that we are not seeing things as they really are. And truly, we're not going to be seeing things truly as they are until we continue to go through 2022. But don't give up your dreams and don't give up on magic and miracles. It doesn't mean that won't come true. Now, the other thing from a mundane standpoint, if we push this out into the world, Neptune also rules the film industry, photographs, right? So there may be something that comes up that's important in that industry, or maybe even some new developments. I mean, Jupiter can add beneficial things there, so there might be some new things that come through that we've not discovered with regards to either processing film, making film, etc., that is important around this time, the month of April. It can also be a time of confusion and doubt. So I would say for those that are in that realm, with Jupiter coming in there, just adding a lot of benefits, a lot of happiness and a lot of positiveness, that's also Jupiter. Jupiter I always liken to Santa Claus. He just wants to give you gifts. But I also think that this is a positive energy. So for those that have been in a different world where there's been confusion or doubt, know that in April, certainly there can be energy in there that can lift you out of that. So allow those energies, or those people even, to come in that are more positive in your life to bring you up to a higher level and a more positive standpoint in your life. This Neptune also makes you highly sensitive. It's great for intuition and can be very psychic. So if you are already in that sort of realm of being sensitive, you're going to find that there's going to be big hits at this time. So your intuition's going to be on, and as I said, for those people that are open to that type of energy, this is going to be just pouring in at this time. And so I would say, at the very least, we should all be listening to our inner selves, right? You can always, connect with other people and get their views on things before you maybe take a big leap into something. But understand that we are going to be having these great intuitions where we just know, right? It's a very perceptive type of energy, and of course it's what's called source energy, or the universe, and for some people, God. So again, if you are open and sensitive to this type of energy, you literally could be getting major downloads from source, the universe, or God, where you're actually given information that's important for you and the conduct of your life. This is an upgrade for humanity at this time. This is a once-in-a-lifetime effect that's happening here for everybody on the earth right now. So if there was one area that I could encourage you as an individual, is to try to bring yourself up to a higher level of consciousness, to try to exist in the world of great compassion, forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you forget things that someone has done to you. It just helps you step outside of that and not be engaged in that energy. I guess the easiest way to look at this would be something that most of us can do. Take that 10,000-foot view of your life at this time and see some of the magic and miracles that are happening in your life, and try to bring those at a certain level up to a higher level of consciousness, and see how you can tap into that. That, I think, would be the best way to use this energy if you really aren't sure how to use it. Now, you can go into sort of meditations. You could go into your regular yoga class, for instance, but maybe have an intention in that class that is at a higher level, where you really spend some time bringing yourself up to this higher level of consciousness. Maybe feeling great compassion for someone or something. If you can't hold on to that energy for a long length of time, that's okay. What we're trying to do is bring all of humankind up to a higher level, right? That's the main goal here, as I see it with this Jupiter conjunct Neptune. But as I said, for certain individuals, this is going to be a really magical time. And of course, Neptune also represents that high level of love, right? It's like true love. So there may be some people that have that come in for them, like out of the blue, something comes in that is your perfect mate. Again, you have to look at your individual charts. Some of the negative sides of this whole Jupiter conjunct Neptune can also bring in this feeling that I've got to make this great sacrifice, right? That is very Neptune-like, where the martyr, so that's like the opposite side of this. So for those that have those types of feelings come up, you need to look carefully at that and don't go towards that end of this Jupiter conjunct Neptune energy. You don't want to be taking this beautiful energy and then making this big, great sacrifice or going into some kind of martyr type of energy. That's not the high level of this energy. That's going towards the lower end. Drugs and alcohol are also Neptune's realm. And I was thinking about this. I thought, I wonder if we're going to make some discoveries of some sort with regards to drugs that I know some of the psychedelic drugs are going through sort of a revival in terms of really aiding a lot of people that maybe have addictions and that sort of thing, but actually it helps them get out of it. And there's a lot of scientific papers being written on that right now. So maybe we're going to hear more in the day-to-day news about that type of thing, where some of these drugs that maybe were thought to be not good for us can actually help people, especially with maybe some kind of disorders. That would be inspirational. And certainly Neptune does give great inspiration. You really feel good. You really feel that you can reach for that dream and it's going to come true. So all these types of feelings are going to come up in a lot of us. Okay. So when we look at Jupiter, I kind of covered him a little bit right now, but it is definitely associated with luck. It's associated with benefits. But at its core, wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's asking you to grow there and to incorporate more of the outer world and what the outer world is about inside yourself and help you in many ways mature. Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, so we will have Jupiter come around to this point again in 12 years. But we're not going to have Neptune there. And that's why so much fanfare is being made of this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. We won't have it again in our lifetime. Jupiter also can be a teacher. It represents the law, it's religion, it's travel. It is a big connection with foreign people and foreign lands. It's seeing the big picture. It's seeing the future. Right? So in combination with Neptune, we're really saying we want to look at a highly spiritualized and metaphysical world. That's what this is really saying. But, you know, Jupiter, as it gets this cockiness and confidence, can also bring in arrogance. So you want to avoid that if you can. Sure, if you can see your dream coming true, that's wonderful and it's great to be excited about it. But be careful about going over the top because Jupiter can do that too. We have Mars that's also going to be in Pisces for the last half of April, and it will conjunct this point, the Jupiter conjunct Neptune, in May. So I would say that in May, there may be more more action that can be taken. So we're just looking at the next month, right, where you can start pressing the buttons and making things happen with regards to whatever it is that has given you inspiration or whatever dream that you're wanting to make come true. Look to May for some real action. It does represent males as well, so it literally could be a male comes in to make it happen, right? But at its core, certainly Mars on its own represents some kind of action or movement forward. But of course in Pisces, it's not the greatest place, but we'll just stick with the fact that it activates the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune and gives it some more energy to move forward. Okay, as I mentioned, I've done a whole video on Jupiter in Pisces that includes a lot more detail about the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction as well, and I go through all the signs. All right, the next thing that we have happening here, which kind of follows on the heels of this conjunction, on the 16th of April, we have a full moon in Libra at 26 Libra, 46 minutes, at 11:54 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and this is a Saturday. So I would say here we have Jupiter, conjuncting Neptune still by degree, but not by minute. So it's still going to be around the 24-degree mark at this full moon. And we have Mercury conjuncting Uranus. We have the Sun and the Moon squaring Pluto, and Saturn is still squaring the North and South nodes. But Saturn does sextile this Sun and trines the actual Moon. And Mars will just be at 1 degree of Pisces. Now we look to the ruler of this full moon, and of course that is Venus. And Venus is at 12 degrees of Pisces at this time, and she is sextiling Uranus. And just note that Venus will be in Pisces all month. And as a side note, she is going to be giving all the lovers out there for the month of April the feeling that, true love can happen to anybody. Certainly during the month of April, there's going to be those vibes around with Venus in Pisces. So we have the ruler in Pisces here. And although it's not activating the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, it still is exerting this beautiful, beautiful energy. Now, with the full moon here, I would say that there may be something to do with the law. I mean, Libra does represent the law. It represents balance and harmony. So there could be a big push here for, from the mundane standpoint, a lot of laws that are being enacted, maybe existing laws that are being enacted and put into effect. But being a full moon, this usually brings something to a culmination. So we could also say that maybe some of the peace and harmony may be crumbling a little bit. And it also could refer to those old laws crumbling as well, and that new ones need to be in place. I kind of got that as an intuitive hit for a mundane standpoint. But certainly for Libras, there may be some tie-up here for you, Libra, with regards to your life. Maybe something will happen over that weekend of the 16th of April that brings something to a conclusion for you. And certainly if you are involved in a court case, for instance, you may find, because you've got this influence of all April of Jupiter and Neptune together, you may find some real favor coming your way. Advisors or lawyers really help you out, Libra. In particular, Libra. Could be the opposite sign too, which of course is Aries. We have on the 18th of April, we have Mercury, planet of communication, and our thoughts, is going to be conjuncting Uranus at 13 degrees of Taurus. And this is going to be bringing us some surprising, maybe some shocking news over the airwaves, is what this says. See if this falls in your chart individually. You could have something come your way in terms of a message. It could be a message on email. It could be a message that you get on your phone, a text message, anything like that, if you've got something at 13 degrees of Taurus. But certainly we're going to be hearing something very unexpected during this time of the 18th of April. and something surprising as well. And maybe it'll be something regarding our foodstuffs, right? Because certainly Taurus represents anything to do with the land. All right, so we have on the 28th of April, Pluto is going to go retrograde. So that's going to be going retrograde at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And of course, we must remember that Pluto is making its way to the final degrees. There's 30 degrees in every sign. So at 28 degrees, it's almost out of Capricorn. Not quite. We're not going to see that until next year, where it goes in and out of Aquarius and Capricorn. So for Pluto to be going retrograde at this point, it kind of puts a stop in some respects on outward transformation, and it really more closely gives energy to inward transformation. And it does it at a slower level. Pluto works at a very slow level anyway. I mean, typically 10 to 12, 13 years, Pluto will stay in a sign. And so as it's coming to the end here of Capricorn, it's really tying up all those big changes in any of our institutions, whether it's our banking institution, the hospitals, our police, our government, all these things. And we see this every day in the press as well as on the news, that all these big changes are happening with regards to things that we've taken for granted as being our sources of power, the power that rules over it. So this is really kind of putting, it's kind of taking some power away in some respects by going retrograde to those in power and asking for inward transformation, right? Now it'll be another few months before Pluto will go direct again, and I'll cover that when that happens as well. So now at the very end of the month, on the 30th of April, we have our eclipse, our first eclipse, and it's a new moon eclipse. I always like new moon eclipses, and it is in Taurus. So Taurus, this is also a big month for you as well, and your opposite sign, Scorpio, too. So this eclipse is at 10 degrees of Taurus, 28 minutes. As I mentioned, it's on the 30th of April at 1:29 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now the ruler of this eclipse is Venus too. And Venus will be conjunct Jupiter at 27 degrees of Pisces. Well, this is just going to be increasing greatly our luck. We'll be lucky in love. It can also bring big money your way too. I mean, Jupiter is big benefits. It's called the greater benefit, and being conjunct Venus, which is the lesser benefit, this could, if you've got something, say, around 27 degrees of Pisces, you could have a windfall coming in. That, when I first put this down and looked at this, I said, I see a lot of people having windfalls, but it can also, for those looking for love, this could be Lady Luck coming to visit you in the love department too. A really good day for those folks that have something around 27 degrees Pisces specifically, but also the opposite sign, Virgo, 27 degrees Virgo. And of course, as I mentioned, Venus is the ruler of this eclipse, so it adds in an extra bit of benefit and sweetness. Jupiter together with Venus is increasing the sweetness level. So I guess on one level, just be careful not to eat too many sweets. You're going to be tempted to at this time, especially if you have something around the 27 degree mark of Pisces. All right. We have also at this eclipse, we have Mercury, importantly, now going into Gemini. And you may recall that the ruler of Gemini is Mercury. So this is a positive sign too with regards to communications, right? We will have Uranus conjuncting this moon a little bit later in the day. So Uranus is all about surprises, unexpected things. And you know, when I say surprises and unexpected things, I don't mean that it's going to be negative. It's only if you've got energy set up that way that it will be negative, where something comes from outside to surprise you. This could just be a very pleasant, emotional surprise. So Uranus will conjunct the moon at 8:29 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So later on in the evening, there may be, for some people, a very pleasant surprise of some sort that comes up. And it might be to do with money or love or something to do with your possessions. Maybe that piece of art that you wanted to buy so much, or the piece of beautiful furniture goes on sale, and you can purchase it. We will have Mars will be sextiling both this moon and sun, as well as Uranus. This is positive. This is Mars energy coming in to just zap this eclipse and make the newness more tangible. That's what this Mars will do. It gives energy to the eclipse. And because it actually sextiles Uranus as well, this could be unexpected happenings. Now, with a sextile, we're always looking at opportunities. It's not saying it's going to happen to you or you have to have it happen to you. It just says, here, would you like this opportunity? So for some folks, you may have opportunities coming your way that could earn you money, bring you love, bring you new possessions that you really want. Okay, so we talked about Venus being the ruler of this eclipse, but note on your calendar that the 6th or 7th of June, the ruler, Venus, will conjunct this degree point of 10 degrees, 28 minutes of Taurus, 6th or 7th of June. What does that mean? That means that this is going to be a very pleasant occurrence for those that have something around the 10-degree mark of Taurus, of this eclipse. Some new beginning that was started for you may have a lot more benefits and sweetness thrown your way around the 6th or 7th of June. Perhaps for those people that are looking for love, you make something more permanent or more official, say around the 6th or 7th of June. Or maybe that money that you saw coming your way around this eclipse, the end of April, tangibly comes in your bank account around the 6th or 7th of June. Okay. We will still have those Saturn in conjunct to Neptune at 24 degrees, and Saturn will be in Aquarius, and of course we'll have Neptune will be in Pisces. And then of course we still have the square to the north-south nodes. So this is really saying that in order to make this permanent, in order to make this a timely thing, we're going to have to consider thinking outside the box. That's how I saw this square. In order for you to get on that new destiny path of incorporating this dream of yours or this magical thing or miracles in your life, you're going to have to think outside that box. You can do it, but it's not going to be just a straightforward pressing a button for you. It's just a small energy that's there, and in conjunct is a minor energy, but it's kind of can be annoying or can just ask you to look at one more thing. So maybe there's one more box you've got to check off before you get that dream come true. That's kind of what that talks about. All right, so next I'm going to be going into each of your individual sun signs and or ascendants. And I'll go in order of the zodiac. So we'll start with you, Aries. So when we look at this Jupiter conjuncting Neptune for you, it is in your 12th house. And so this brings, I think, to you, Aries, a great deal of intuition, as well as potentially psychic abilities as well. It certainly is going to bring a lot of very deep reflections on yourself and your life. But for those that really need to go through some internal healing, this is it for you. Now, I feel that this, at the very least, this Jupiter conjunct Neptune lasts for the whole month of April, but it actually goes on further than that. But even if you want to look at just a month, look to the month of April. For those that are watching this video in advance, say in February when I'm making this, know, Aries, that you've got some great healing coming your way if you need it, for sure. And the other thing is, too, is that this is also the house of magic as well. At its best, the 12th house can bring magic to you. So for those folks that maybe have something around that 22-degree mark of Pisces, and you really need a miracle happening in your life, this could be the month that it actually happens. I would say that really do your best to put yourself into a good meditative state where you really look at the best side of life. I would say affirmations, positive affirmations are good at this time. You could set up a situation where you attract in what you want, you attract in what you need. At the full moon in Libra, that's going to be in your 7th house of partnerships. Now, the full moon, of course, has the moon and sun in opposite signs. So with the moon in Libra, we know that the sun is going to be in your sign, Aries. So I would say that something may come up with your partner. And this could be a culmination. Now, at a very superficial level, we could say that maybe you were involved in some kind of court case. That's Libra. And so this could be a tie-up. And I would say it's probably going to be very favorable for you with regards to that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that goes on close to the same time as the full moon. So look forward to something tying up at that time. It probably has more to do with your partner as opposed to you, but I see it as a favorable outcome for you. The eclipse that we have at the end of the month in Taurus is going to be in your 2nd house. Well, Aries, this could be a whole new source of income for you. Have you asked for a raise and it comes through? It not only comes through, but they give you more than you're asking for. That's how I saw this playing out for you with regards to the eclipse. Now, it could bring in a whole new job as well, but typically the 2nd house really refers to income. It could be something also where you've had your eye on something, some possession that you really have wanted, some piece of art or some beautiful piece of furniture that you really, really wanted to come in. And that could become available to you and you can buy it. Or you just decide to buy it. Good luck, Aries. All right, Taurus. Well, this is a big month for you, Taurus, right? I mean, when we look at the Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces, we know that that whole conjunction is sextiling, providing opportunities for you. So that's a positive thing. It's going to be in your 11th house. So this says to me that friendships or groups could bring in great benefit for you, especially mid-month when we have that conjunction. But remember too, that these are high energies, Neptune and Jupiter. They ask for the best side of ourselves, right? And so I would say, just keep in the back of your mind, Taurus, that what you put in, either to your friendships or your groups, can come back to you at this time, or come back to you in the future. So just be careful how you're using your friends, or how your friends are using you for that matter. But I would say there's some real benefit that could come in. If you do need the help of your friends at this time, or you need a specific group to help you out at this time, this is going to be a very fortunate time for you. Now, the 11th house also does rule our hopes and wishes. So for some Taurians, especially if you've got something happening around that 22 to 24 degree mark of Pisces, you could have one of your dreams coming true here. All right, when we look at the full moon in Libra for you, that's going to be in your 6th house. So we know that the sun is going to be in your 12th house. So the 6th house really speaks to you tidying something up here with regards to the place that you work. So maybe for you, you had something turn up or will have something turn up. I would say maybe at the end of the month. Maybe you're developing something with regards to something new in your life. And at this full moon, you have to let go of your current job. And you make a decision at the full moon, you know what, I'm moving on. I need to let this go. I need to let it go. But you're going to do it in a very harmonious way. I mean, when we look at Libra, we're looking at, harmony is what Libra really wants. Harmony, grace, charm, all those words are associated with Libra. But you too, just like Aries, this could be, the 6th house does sometimes represent court cases. You could also have a favorable tie-up of something with regards to some legal matter. Not necessarily a court case, maybe it's a legal matter gets tied up for you. The other thing, of course, the 6th house represents health. So say for those Taurians who've had poor health, you may find some tie-up here with regards to seeking out a new way of doing your health, whether it's nutrition and or exercise, that works out for you. Or you let go of something that's just not working for you, Taurus, in the health sector. And then you look towards the end of the month, right, where you've got the eclipse, the new moon eclipse. A whole new start for you, Taurus, is in your first house. When I look at this all together, I saw for some folks that have the degrees being set off by one or more of these things in April, I saw a lot of Taurians giving up a job that they're in right now or totally transforming it as a result of a new opportunity that comes towards the end of April. And that this opportunity comes through friends or groups that you belong to. So I would say for some Taurians, look to your friends and the groups you belong to with regards to maybe changing up how you make money, right? Because you got the second house of earned income and then you got your first house lit up at the end of the month. Now this sets up a whole year and a half. These eclipses, right? They're going to happen in your sign and in Scorpio. So this could be the beginning of something absolutely wonderful for you. Now the first house covers everything, right? So if you need to change up a lot of things in your life, Taurus, this is a new starting point and a very good starting point towards the end of April 2022. But know that the effect is going to be over the next year and a half or so. This is just the beginning, right? And for you, with your north nodes being in Taurus, or the north nodes being in Taurus, look to my video if you want, if you've not looked at it. I cover all the sun signs and ascendants in my north nodes in Taurus video. Link is below. Take care, Taurus. All right, Gemini. So Gemini, we have this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in your 10th house. Wow, I think that's pretty fabulous. So for those Geminis that are really looking for a promotion, a big promotion, or just scoring a fabulous career move, I would say that this whole Jupiter-Neptune conjunction mid-month in April effect is going to be for the whole of April at the very least. You could have some major, major good luck happen with regards to your career. That's what I'd be looking for, Gemini. The only thing that I would say is that, you know, this whole Jupiter effect can bring in sometimes some arrogance. So be careful for, like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, I guess is what I'm saying. You could have such great good fortune come to you, Gemini, that you get arrogant about it. So just because Jupiter can also promote that type of thing. But apart from that, just enjoy that energy of whatever happens to you with regards to your career. Certainly if you are involved in any kind of social service, Jupiter conjunct Neptune really promotes that. So if you are in social service of some sort, you're going to get a double dip of the good luck here. It also has a lot to do with travel and foreign people, foreign places. So that may be in the mix for you too, Gemini. When we look at the full moon in Libra for you, well, that's in your 5th house. So this could be a couple things. I mean, the 5th house rules so many things, but this could have you tying up something with regards to maybe a legal matter too. Maybe you had to sort out something with regards to your own business that finally you're able to make it official, and that full moon represents that. But it can also have something to do with you know, love in your life. Perhaps you're going to decide to get married. You're not going to get married at this time, but you could decide that you're going to get married to this true love that comes into your life. It's a full moon, so it does represent culminations. So for those folks that are single, this could represent the end of singlehood, right? So full moons don't always bring in negative stuff. It just brings in culminations. It could also bring something with regards, if you've got children, something with regards to your children. Maybe it's time for them to get their own place. Maybe they finish off some of their studies. Something like that could come about. But it can also represent creative projects. So maybe you tie up some big creative project at this time, Geminis. Or you could just decide maybe some business that you're doing at this time, you want to stop doing it and maybe do something different. And the end of the month eclipse brings some great opportunities in for you. So when we go to the end of the month at that new moon eclipse that's going to be in Taurus, Well, that's going to be in your 12th house. And so this really refers to more of our inner selves. And so I would say that here you may start developing some maybe greater interest in the metaphysical world. So that could be anything from taking up yoga to really getting more serious about your meditations. It could even be something as simple as positive affirmations. I'm a big promoter of that, where you really remind yourself that this world can be a very positive thing. But it could also have you just shining this big spotlight, right, on your inner self, and you want to start taking a look at who you are. Classically, the 12th house can represent hidden places, hidden things, secrets popping out. So that also could happen, those areas of your life where something comes to light that you didn't know about. That could happen at this time too. Good luck, Gemini. All right, Cancer. We have this Jupiter conjunct Neptune. It's going to be in your 9th house, but depending where your midheaven is, there may be some Cancers that have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunct their midheaven, so they would have to be a midheaven around the 22-degree mark of Pisces, right? So this could be a super duper time when you have some major announcements to make to the world of a change of status. You could have yourself in the spotlight at this time. Now this can be big or small. Maybe someone wants to interview you. Maybe you get on the news. Who knows? Something like that could happen. But the 9th house itself, is ruled by Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter is part of that conjunction of the Jupiter-Neptune. So this is kind of a little more favorable for the Cancers, just from that standpoint alone. Jupiter looks to travel, it's higher education. Maybe at this time you get this unique opportunity to go back to get some higher education out of the blue. Or money comes in for you to allow you to do that. You could also decide to take that trip of a lifetime, right? 9th house is big travel type stuff, like expanding your mind through travel. So it could have you putting together plans for a very realistic, fabulous vacation. That would be fun too. The 9th house also rules the law itself, but typically it rules natural law. So I would just say keep everything, take the high road in everything that you do or decisions that you make at this time, Cancer, and you'll do just fine. It's also publishing. So for those folks that say, have written something great, this could be a time where you get some great opportunity. Maybe an advisor comes in, an editor, for instance. That could be the effect of Jupiter in this 9th house. And you get to publish your book. Or at least see the dream of being able to do that, right? So the full moon for you falls in your 4th house. And of course, this full moon in Libra squares your sign. So it could be that something in the home, there has to be some adjustment in the home for you. This full moon could say that you're going to be selling your home, but there may be, you may have to think outside the box with regards to selling your home, or it may not be quite straightforward. It doesn't mean you're not going to do it. It just means that there may be certain legal boxes that you've got to check off, right? Because this is a full moon in Libra before you can actually sell your home. When we look at the new moon eclipse in Taurus, this falls in your 11th house. And this is awesome. The 11th house represents friends, so you could have friends be very lucky for you at this time. And they could set off some kind of new thing for you that will be very important for your development of your hopes and wishes, because of course that is the 11th house as well as your hopes and wishes. You could have friends and groups come in here, be very, very lucky for you, Cancer. So pay attention to who comes into your life, especially new friends and groups that you belong to. They could help set something up for you that you really need to move forward through in your life. Take care, Cancer. All right, for Leo. So Leo, this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction falls in your 8th house. Now this, at its core, could mean that you have fabulous opportunity for psychotherapy, where you make great strides literally going into your mind and sorting stuff out there. there could be some marvelous breakthroughs with regards to you understanding the underlying psychological self. And I would look for that. If I were a Leo, that's your best bet here. But on top of that, the 8th house also rules shared resources, investments, shares itself. I would say this could be a very lucky time for you. If you want to make some investments, and I would say especially investments with regards to this whole, what does Jupiter and Neptune kind of emphasize? That's water, gas, petrol, that type of thing. So investments at this time could be very lucky for you. You could also have some lucky advisor come in for you, Leo, and give you good advice of where you should invest your money. They'll pay off in the long term. That's the effect of Jupiter in here, right? And they could help a dream come true for you. But again, more in the future. What you do now is going to pay off in the future. Okay. We have the full moon in Libra, which is in your 3rd house. So this could just bring, I would say, when I looked at this, I thought it could bring some conclusion to some kind of maybe ongoing communications that you have. These could be documents of some sort that you have to tie up, where you finally put that final seal on it and say, I'm done. I don't have to do anything more with this. It could also, for some folks, be tying up maybe a big writing project that you've had, that you can finally put that to bed and you could see the end of it. That's what I saw here for you, Leo, at this full moon in Libra. And for some folks, it could also be the tie-up of some kind of legal matter where you see the end of it. For you, you've got this new moon eclipse in Taurus in your 10th house. The thing is about this eclipse in your 10th house is that it squares Leo, your sign. So I would say that you're going to have to make some new, probably unexpected, because we got Uranus is in on this eclipse at the end of April as well. New unexpected thing coming in to your workplace, especially with regards to your career, that you have to make an adjustment. You've got to think outside of the box in order to incorporate whatever it is you're being asked to do. But it's a new beginning, Leo. So I would look at this favorably. I mean, you've got Uranus in this area of your chart for the next few years. And if you've got other planets that might be conjunct by Uranus, this could be just like a whole new unexpected start for you. So what could that manifest as? This could manifest as unexpectedly people above you are eclipsed out of your life, that they leave for some reason. And you now have to maybe cope with the fallout of it and deal with things that you didn't think you would have to deal with. But it can also say, Leo, this can be your chance to have a whole new start in your career. So look to what is happening for you in April and May, because this eclipse happens at the end of April, right? So the effects are going to carry on certainly for the first week of May as well. But I would say you could have some very lucky break, because that's the other thing that Uranus can bring in with the eclipse is a lucky break. So make yourself available to people contacting you that may actually want to work with you, Leo. I see it as a lot of good luck for you. Breaking through and away from things that have been holding you back in your career. Those are going to disappear towards the end of April, May. Take care, Leo. All right, Virgo. So Virgo, you have this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in your 7th house. And of course, the 7th house is partnerships. And generally speaking, clients and advisors, that anywhere where you sign a contract. So at a basic level, for some Virgos, this could be a time when you decide to get married, that you get married in April. And I would say that this configuration favors that marriage. But it can also be a marriage of a partnership, where you form a partnership with other people. That's very favorable too. So for any Virgos that are putting together a business partnership at this time, this is a once-in-a-lifetime favorable time to do it. Just make sure that you check off all the boxes, right? That any of the wording that's put into contracts is carefully looked over by you. It also gives you great opportunities for any advisors. Do you need legal advice? Do you need financial advice? It can also bring in an abundance of clients at this time. So Virgo, I would definitely save up some of your energy for having to deal with potentially a lot of people coming in, maybe even seeking your advice, because you will be giving good advice as well. So the full moon in Libra falls in your second house. So this says there's going to be some kind of ending, probably with regards to the money that you make. And it also may be tied in with Libra, which is, of course, legal matters too. So there may be some kind of legal stuff that you have to tie up with that stops maybe some income that you have coming in for you. It can also, though, talk to values, right? So the second house is also, am I valuing myself? Are other people valuing me? And it could be, for some Virgos, that they decide, you know what, I'm not being valued enough in this job that I'm in. And you decide to take some steps to change that, where you start asking for more value. This may be that you go in and ask for a raise. That could happen here too. I mean, Venus rules Libra, right? And Venus is about money and love. I felt that a lot, the value system here of yourself. And of course, you know, in our day-to-day life, as our world is now, value of yourself is usually expressed through the money that you get. I don't totally agree with that, but it's the way things are done. All right, so Virgo, at the end of the month, we've got this new moon eclipse that is in your 9th house. So this is a whole new beginning with regards to perhaps dealing with foreign people and foreign things. It could be a whole lease on you starting some kind of advanced educational. Maybe you go for your Ph.D. at this time and it's all green lights for you. But it can also be you deciding to take a trip of a lifetime too, because the 9th house is travel. And it's in particular travel overseas. So this could have you having a big door open where you see an opportunity to take a trip of a lifetime. And I would say go for it, Virgo. Because you're still going to have that influence, right, of Jupiter, which rules the 9th house, that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. Take a trip overseas and have a good time. Plan it around that new moon eclipse, and you could plan it for any time of 2022. You could have some magic and miracles happen on that trip. Certainly foreign people, foreign things could be very lucky for you at this time, where they form the basis of some new beginning for you, Virgo, right? The 9th house also rules the law, and it also rules teaching. So for those folks that maybe are looking to either become a teacher or teach, this could be a new opportunity for you where that whole door opens up and you become a teacher. That would be fabulous for you, Virgo. Whatever it is, I say take a trip. Take a fabulous trip. You deserve it. Take care, Virgo. All right, we have Libra. Libra, this Jupiter conjunct Neptune falls in your 6th house. And the 6th house really rules really two things. It rules the job that you do day to day, and if you don't do a job, if you're retired, for instance, it can actually just talk to the things that you do regularly day to day are going to have some big positive influence. And so if it's your job that you need to improve, you could get a whole new job, for instance, or you could get you could stay in the job that you're in but get some great benefit. Maybe you're going to get extra benefits, maybe extra money comes in for you, or you get a bonus that you didn't expect come in for you that really is a benefit to you at this time. But it also is the house of health. So for those folks, Librans, that maybe have had ill health, this could be a turning point time for you, where maybe some adjustments in either the food you take in or the exercise that you do, or both these things, come in to really give you some great benefit at this time. The only caveat that I've got to say is that when you've got Jupiter in the 6th house like you do, You have to take care with your weight because you're going to have a propensity to put weight on. Now, there may be some folks that maybe have had ill health that need to put weight on, and that's going to be a positive thing for you. The full moon in Libra, of course, is in your first house, Libra. This is your full moon. So for those Librans that have to tie up something with regards to maybe a legal matter, this is going to be a fabulous full moon for you and very, very positive. Now, the sun is going to be in Aries in your opposite 7th house. So it could be at this full moon that something happens with regards to your partner where they tie something up, but it's going to influence you. It can kind of go either way here. But I see this as a really positive full moon in Libra. And so take advantage of these energies, Libra, to tie up something in your life that needs to be tied up. The new moon in Taurus is in your 8th house. So this has you, Libra, having, I saw this really as finances. I mean, if you look at Taurus as a sign, it is in or on the axis of money. So I really saw that this is kind of like a double whammy of money here. So this would be a good time period, the end of April going into May, to really look carefully at your investments and maybe start some new investments here that can give you some longevity. We're still going to have the influence of the Jupiter conjunct Neptune all through April. So harness that energy of good advisors, of good opportunities coming your way with regards to investments, right? Now, the other thing that could happen too is, and I'm not saying do anything illegal or behind the scenes, but you could have sort of a lucky thing happen to you where you accidentally hear of this investment that you would not have otherwise heard of, that you have to jump on, and that you decide after looking at it, wow, this could be a whole new beginning with regards to my investments. I got to get on this. And because the 8th house also rules secrets. So you could have a secret revealed to you that actually is a benefit to you with regards to where you should invest. Okay. The 8th house also rules the psychological self. So this could have you literally, with the eclipse, having some kind of enlightenment where you get it. Something triggers in your mind that helps you understand something that maybe's been dogging you forever. But it can bring something new as well as exciting into the way you think about things, right? In a positive way. You open up a whole new way of looking at things. Good luck, Libra. So Scorpio, we have this Jupiter conjunct Neptune in your 5th house of true love. And of course, Pisces being a water sign, it trines your sign, so it brings you positive energy, right? So the water signs are very much affected by, in a positive way, maybe even too positive, where some folks may see things flying by that they should pay more attention to because the energy is so easy. So for some folks that are open to it, Scorpios, you could have your idealized love person come into your life at this time. It also increases creativity to a high, high level. So for those Scorpios that maybe are working on creative projects, you are going to be super inspired. You could have a lot of good luck. You could have good people come in at this time to not only inspire you, but to provide benefits for you with regards to a creative project. Harness those energies if you've got a big creative project that you really need to make, to materialize. You're going to get all the help here to have that happen. But certainly for those Scorpios that are creative, that are, say, in the creative arts, this is going to be a big time of producing some absolutely phenomenal pieces, whatever they are in terms of art and creativity. Your children could become very important for you at this time. Maybe some lucky things happens to them. Perhaps you or your mate becomes pregnant. This is a dream come true. You've not been able to get pregnant, or your partner's not been able to become pregnant, and somebody becomes pregnant at this time, and it truly is a dream come true. That can happen at this time with this conjunction in your 5th house as well. The full moon in Libra is in your 12th house. 12th house is really all about Metaphysical world, and of course, Scorpio, you deal in the metaphysical world, generally speaking. You're highly psychic, you're very intuitive. So this full moon, I felt for you, Scorpio, is going to bring some closure, but I didn't get a bad feeling about it. So it could be that this Jupiter-Neptune brings in this fabulous love for you, and you have to close some other aspect of your life, or some other aspect of your life is closing at this time naturally, right, at the full moon, to allow you to have this idealized love mature over time. I kind of got those two going together that way. What else could this be for you? It could be that you decide at this time, you also could have some legal matter come to an abrupt closure at this time. That could happen too. Full moons can bring secrets to light though. So I guess from either a negative standpoint or just an enlightenment standpoint, some secret may pop up that really helps you close something, that you say, that's the final thing that I needed to know that helps me close that book, shut that door. I saw this as a positive full moon for you, Scorpio. Now, the new moon in Taurus is in your 7th house. And this forms, of course, is opposition to Scorpio. And Scorpio, you know you've got the south nodes currently in your sign, and the north nodes are up there in your opposite sign of Taurus. So this is an important new moon eclipse. All the eclipses happening in either your sign, Scorpio, or this one, which is in Taurus, are extremely important for you to change your destiny, right, to the positive, to get you on your destiny path. So what area of your destiny path are we talking about with this new moon in Taurus? Well, we're talking about the 7th house. And of course, the 7th house represents all partnerships and clients. At its best, this could have someone of marriage potential come in for you. And I think that that may be tied in with that, what I just spoke about, which is Jupiter, Neptune in your 5th house of true love. This could manifest at the end of the month of it being an obvious person that you want to marry. But it can also bring in business partnerships. It's a new moon, Scorpio. So if you have to put together a cadre of people for a business partnership, this is great start for you, and you can pull in that whole effect of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in April to put together a fabulous group of people at this time. Now, this new moon can also bring clients in, right? The 7th house is of clients. So if the work that you do has clients, expect to have a whole new level of people come in at this time that is going to really change your destiny path here. So this is a big effect for you, Scorpio. The two signs that are going to be affected directly and most at this time with this new moon eclipse in Taurus are you, Scorpio, and your opposite sign of Taurus. So this new moon eclipse is very important for you with all 7th house matters. It's a new start there for you. Good luck, Scorpio. For Sagittarius, this, Jupiter, first of all, rules your sign, so it's a positive thing from that standpoint. But of course, Neptune squares your sign. So I guess together they can negate anything really negative out of this situation. But this Jupiter conjunct Neptune is in your 4th house. And of course, the 4th house represents your home. So on a very superficial level, Sagittarius, this could have you buying your dream home, right? Now, the only awkward thing about this is that 4th house, this Jupiter-Neptune, squares Sagittarius. So it may not be so straightforward. I would just say that if you are buying your dream home, that you do your diligence in terms of any money that's transacting between you and any of the different pieces that have to be put together. All contracts should be looked at very carefully. I'm not saying anything will go badly wrong, but with the square, it just means there's going to be some challenges. You may not just get something what you want instantly. And like I said, I would just say, make sure you check all the fine details if you are buying your dream home at this time. And certainly get the inspections done at a high level too. Just my opinion. Otherwise, this could be fabulous for you. Now, the 4th house also represents your mother and by extension, your family. So you could have your mother and your family be very, very beneficial for you at this time. They could just be pouring in benefits and gifts for you, and just really supporting you a lot over this whole month of April for sure. So leverage that family to help you out. Maybe they're going to help you move into that new dream home, Sagittarius. All right, the full moon in Libra falls in your 11th house of friends, groups, and wishes. So here we look at friends, for some reason, may end up leaving your life, where your new friends start coming in, or groups that you belong to are just old news for you, and you just decide, you know, I don't really relate to this group, I don't really relate to these friends, and you decide that you're going to start something new here and leave the old friends and old groups behind. It could be too that maybe some of these friends are inharmonious with who you are, and you've just finally come to the conclusion at the full moon that you need to let them go. That's what I saw here. Now this could also bring, in a positive way, a conclusion to this dream that you have, because the 11th house is, of course, your hopes and wishes too. So this full moon could be a positive culmination where you literally see, in tangible terms, a dream come true for yourself. Now that's not going to be the case for all Sagittarians, but if I was picking a time, it would be April where that could happen. So put your best foot forward, Sagittarius. Always take the high road. With these squares, you've got to be careful about taking the high road, doing your due diligence with all the details. The new moon eclipse in Taurus falls in your 6th house, Sagittarius. So the 6th house refers to your health. It also refers to your either day-to-day habits, if you don't work, or your day-to-day job. And so this says a whole new job may come through for you, Sagittarius. And because it's an eclipse, this is going to set up something large for you, not something small. The effects of this will be for some time, maybe the next year and a half, because these eclipses last for about that long in the sign of Taurus and Scorpio. But if you have had any ill health of any sorts, this could literally bring in that new thing that helps your health get better. Or you could decide, hey, I've got to change up my health habits here. The nutrition that I have hasn't been good for years, and I've not been exercising maybe for years. Not you, Sagittarius. Anyway, this could be you making some very big decisions at this eclipse, that I have to eat better and I have to start exercising and taking care of my body. If, Sagittarius, you do decide to do that this time, this eclipse will be with you and will have your back. So go for it, Sagittarius. All round could be a really good time for you purchasing a home, having a good time with your family, as well as starting something new with regards to your workplace. Take care, Sagittarius. So for Capricorn, this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction falls in your 3rd house. And of course, this provides a sextile sort of energy to your sign. So this will bring you opportunities coming your way. How? It's going to benefit through some kind of communications. So I would pay attention to anything coming your way. That's either in mail, email, phone calls, text messages. Something's going to come out of that to provide you some great opportunities that you've been looking for. Now, this could literally be coming through benefits through your relatives or through neighbors. Those folks are the ones that are ruling that 3rd house. Those areas of your life, those people are 3rd house related. So look for opportunities through your relatives and neighbors. You know, maybe have a little more of a listening and observing type of energy around yourself during April, Capricorn, so that you can be really aware of maybe some things coming in for you. Remember, this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is a once in a lifetime for everyone that exists on our earth right now. And so you've got opportunities coming your way through relatives and or neighbors. Take advantage of them. You're going to have some real benefits here. But communications are going to be, you know, out of control with regards to being positive. You may have a whole bunch of communications coming in saying how wonderful you are and how people want to work with you because they just love your energy, that type of thing. You could also start maybe, these are like small courses or small writing courses. It could be that you get an opportunity here through relatives or neighbors to put some courses together, right? It's also commerce and sales. So you could have a major increase if you're in the areas of sales or commerce, where some real good luck comes your way with regards to a communication coming in to give you these opportunities. When we look at the full moon in Libra, this is in your 10th house. So perhaps you're going to have some kind of wonderful opportunities happen in April that allow you to let go of some aspect of your career that maybe hasn't been working out for you, but because you've had to earn the money, you've had to stay in this career. Now you're able to let go of whatever it is that you were doing in your career so that you could maybe really do what you want. And doing what you want is going to come up at the end of April. Why? Because the new moon eclipse in Taurus falls in your 5th house. So this ties in nicely with this full moon letting go your career of Libra with the new moon eclipse in your 5th house. So the new moon eclipse is going to be giving you, in boatloads of opportunities, an opportunity to actually express your authentic, creative self. So for those Capricorns that are in some kind of creative endeavor, this could be your time. End of April into May, where there's some new opportunity comes in and you're able to start expressing who you are. And maybe that career that you made the decision to leave behind mid-April turns into this fabulous new opportunity at the eclipse at the end of April, where you congratulate yourself and say, I'm glad I decided to pay attention to me and my authentic self, and to let go of some aspect of a career, to go for something that really means something to me, that represents who I really am. And it especially ties in with creative endeavors, that 5th house. But it can also be a new beginning with regards to your children. Maybe some lucky new thing happens with regards to your children that you're able to benefit from. It can also be a time when you start your own business. So maybe that full moon in Libra where you let go of your career, maybe it was a corporate career, you now have this fabulous opportunity to start your business. Would be an awesome time, Capricorn, to start a new business at the end of April into May. So whatever it is that you do, let me know. I would be very interested. I love the 5th house in terms of a very beneficial house with regards to really helping you and assisting you, expressing who you really are inside. So I think that's a positive end for you, Capricorn, at the end of the month. Take care. For Aquarius, this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction happens in your 2nd house. So on the surface, this could have you making a lot more money, a lot more money. It can also be a time where you are able to increase all your possessions, where you're able to buy all those luxury items that you've not been able to buy before, that piece of art that you've been looking at for years, you can finally say, I think I'll have that now. The beautiful pieces of furniture that you wanted to put into your home become a reality now. It's certainly you enjoying the good things in life. If you look at the 2nd house, if you look at the sign that rules that, it is Taurus. And Taurus is all about having the good life. So good wine, good food, good company, good art, good music, everything in that realm, you're going to be enjoying at this time. At the very least, I see some big bump up in the money that you make, and that you're able to actually increase your possessions. On an internal level, you could have these really inspirational messages come through, or just inspirational understanding of changing the value of yourself, where you're really able to enact a better value of yourself, and you actually see how you need to change something in yourself so that others can see your value. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. When we look at the full moon in Libra, that full moon in Libra falls in your 9th house. So this could have you literally tying up some advanced degree that it naturally ends. Maybe it's even a degree with regards to the law. Maybe you become a lawyer at this time for some Aquarians. It could also be the end of a trip that you've taken. Say you've gone on a long, fabulous trip, and this is just marking the end of that trip for you. It could also have you tying up maybe connections with foreign people or foreign places, or both these things, where it naturally comes to some kind of conclusion where you decide you don't want to deal with foreign people and foreign things at this time. And it's a natural conclusion, and a very harmonious conclusion as well. The 9th house does rule the law as well, so it could have, for some Aquarians, a tie-up of something legally where there's a natural end to it. It could too, for those folks that are writers, it could have you finally having that book published. And that's exciting. Congratulations to those Aquarians that are getting a book published as well. So at the end of the month, we have the new moon in Taurus, and it's an eclipse. And it's going to be in your 4th house. The only fly in the ointment, Aquarius, is that that squares Aquarius. So it means there's going to be some challenges. You've got to think outside the box. Everything's not going to be totally straightforward. The 4th house is your home, right? So on the surface, this could have some Aquarians purchasing a new home at this time, and it's going to be fabulous, whatever it is. But you may have to jump through a few hoops. Maybe you've got to offer more money than what you expected. Maybe there's a lot of people vying for that house that you want. And with the whole influence of the Jupiter-Neptune still coming in here asking, do you want this dream to come true? For you, it's you want this dream house. It just may mean that you've got to do a little bit extra, Aquarius, to get that new home for yourself. Doesn't mean it won't happen. It could also mean that you sell a home and buy another home. All those activities could happen at this time. It could also have something happen with regards to your mother and or by extension your family, where there's some new thing that happens there. Maybe someone comes to live with you. Maybe your mother comes to live with you in your home, and she brings benefits with her that really help things in the home environment for yourself. It can also have a new beginning with regards to those Aquarians that, say, are pregnant or have a new child come in. It could have that happen. That could happen at this eclipse too. After all, it is an eclipse. Good luck, Aquarius. All right, so for Pisces, well, Pisces, this Jupiter-Neptune is in your sign. So, and for those Pisces that have anything like a sun or ascendant somewhere around the 22 to 24 degree mark of Pisces, this is going to be outstanding for you. There are going to be some Pisces that are going to hit the jackpot. There's going to be some Pisces that literally have maybe more than one dream come true, that you can't believe this is actually happening to you. And I would really be interested if some folks could leave some comments with regards to what happens to you. I know all my viewers would be interested. But this is a once in a lifetime, Pisces, right? You're never going to have this happen again. Really take advantage of these energies, even if these energies turn out to be some lucky advisor coming in to give you some really good advice for your life, right? This is in your 1st house. So it's all about all aspects of you. Venus is going to be in Pisces at this time too, just reinforcing the sweetness and the benefits of this transit, right? So money could come in, love could come in. It's going to be a banner month, I would say, for most Pisces. The only negative part of this, of course, is that we do have that influence of Neptune that can bring in deception. So I would say that, look, Pisces, you are going to be at an all-time high with regards to intuition and psychic abilities in April. Follow what it's telling you. If something it really does seem too good to be true, well, look into it. Get someone else's opinion. So that's the only negative thing I can say about this coming up, Pisces, for you. The full moon in Libra is going to be in your 8th house. So this could have you just literally cashing in some major investment. And maybe that whole good luck thing happens with regards to money, where you see all these investments that are maturing, or an investment that you made, you decide to take it, right? You decide that you want to cash that in. Or it could be that that you decide yourself to maybe stop some investments that maybe aren't working out for you. Maybe you get some good advice with regards to investments and you stop some investments and start others as a result of that major influence, right, of the Jupiter conjunct Neptune in your 1st house. That some advisor comes in and says, why don't you stop this investment and start this one? The other thing too is that 8th house is also the house of secrets. There could be some secret that comes to light that you have to pay attention to. Yeah. It can also bring enlightenment, right, with regards to your psychological self. So maybe this is you deciding to tie up. Maybe you've been in therapy, psychotherapy for a number of years, and you decide that you've really done a lot of good work on yourself and that you're just going to close that down for now and that it naturally ends. I don't see this as a negative full moon in Libra for you, Pisces, because that whole fabulous energy of Jupiter conjunct Neptune will be operating at the very least all of April. Now the new moon eclipse that's happening in Taurus at the end of the month is going to be in your 3rd house. So I would say that this 3rd house could bring in some kind of new beginning. Maybe it's some kind of commercial or sales deal that you put together with the influence of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in your 1st house. You're able at the end of the month now to set up a lot of communications with folks to put together some kind of new commercial deal of some sort that really brings a lot of benefit to you, by the way. At the very least, there's going to be a lot of increased communications here that are important for you with regards to your destiny path. You could also find that siblings as well as your neighbors may bring something to your attention, maybe some new thing. And this may also have to do with, sales and commerce at this time. It could also be just from a very sort of superficial level that you take up some new way of communicating or presenting yourself. This could be going to Toastmasters, that you make this new initiative to improve your image and the way you communicate and the way you present yourself. Great time for that as well. But Pisces, this is your month. You own this month of April. There's no question of it. So enjoy. Please leave me comments. I love to hear from people. Now, the only thing I want to also give you, Pisces, is that because you've got such major growth happening with that whole Jupiter, Neptune in your 1st house, just don't be too overbearing. And if you do have doubt and confusion come in, really try to look at the positive aspects, because for some Pisces, you may have some of these feelings coming in as well, where that whole Neptune brings doubt in. Could this really come true for me? Am I really sure I can get on this path? Be confident. Listen to your inner self, I would say, is a big thing for you, Pisces, and everything will be successful for you. Of course, consulting with anyone that's an expert or friends that you trust, you can never go wrong with that. You've got a lot of good luck going on your side, so use this energy to bring good people your way. That's all I've got to say. This also says, of course, at its highest, this brings great compassion, Pisces. So if there is some things in your life that you need to let go of, to forgive, try to increase that compassion quotient, right? And take that high road of being compassionate at that 10,000-foot level. You don't have to get involved in the forgiving, but you do need to take that higher level of being compassionate from a very sort of simple level, that you don't have to get involved in it, but you just need to have that compassion for the other person. That's operating big time here for you too. Certainly if you do have compassionate desires, it'd be a great time to get involved with charities or contributing to charities at this time. You will get a double dip of benefit at this time too. All right, take care, Pisces. I'm rooting for you. All right, so I'm just going to end up here talking about a little bit about May. So in May, we have not our first eclipse, but we have our first total eclipse. And of course, total eclipses are much more powerful. And it's going to be a full moon at 23 degrees of Scorpio on the 16th of May, 2022. I'll cover this in some detail in my next monthly video, but I actually picked this out as a specific video, and I've done all sun signs and ascendants already. I'll leave that link for those that might want to look at it, but I will cover it in detail as well for each of the signs in my May astrology forecast. I'm wishing everyone lots of luck with having their dreams come true, miracles happening, and magical times during the month of April. Leave me comments, contact me if you would like to have your chart read. I would say this is an ideal time to have that. Bye for now, and we will talk to you soon.